If you want to buy cheap FIFA 20 Ultimate Team coins, go and check out MMOPO.com and use the discount code EGHD for 8% off your order. Yo guys, so welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at some icons. Over the next week we have our new icon swaps, we have also prime icons coming into packs and baby icons going out of packs. So I decided it would be a good time to do a video like this to have a look at some baby icons which are actually usable in FIFA, but I've set myself a cap. I've set myself a limit of about 250,000 coins on Xbox and PlayStation to find an icon that is going to be usable. So what I've done, I went onto Footbin and sorted it by a maximum of 250,000 coins, had a little look down the list and decided to pick a few players to compare for this video. And the 4 icons I decided to go for in the end was Raul, Costa, Okocha and Overmars. The other players that you see in the squad are just players that I have in my club, so Guardiola and Ferdinand are icon swaps. And for the purpose of today's video, I started to play in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Raul and Costa as striker and cam, and Overmars and Okocha on the sides, Lam and Ram. And also for the instructions, I decided to leave Raul on completely balanced, and all the Lams, Rams and Cams are balanced despite having get into the box for cross. First icon we're going to be looking at today with some gameplay is Raul, and this is his baby, his 86 version. He does have some weaknesses, so for example his pace isn't the greatest, he does have some weaknesses there with his passing, but at the same time his passing was actually surprisingly good. 93 vision with 86 short passing. With a hunter card his pace goes up nicely, his shooting is on point, he also has quite high strength and aggression, which we'll get into in a bit. His dribbling felt pretty good, but another down point would be his stamina. Also what I've decided to do is make these little pictures which I upload to my Instagram and my Twitter, but you can see here Raul is going for about 200,000 coins on Xbox and PlayStation and 300,000 coins on PC, so quite a bit of difference there. 4-star skills, 4-star weak foot, high medium work rates, and you can see his key stats there. The chem styles I suggest going for are Hunter, Hawk and Catalyst, so basically the 3 chem styles that have pace upgrades, with Hunter being the top one. So as I said at the start, Raul was actually my favourite. It was very easy to get footage with him, he just couldn't stop scoring. I think he had more goals than he did games played, which is quite difficult I'd say on FIFA, especially for me, as I scored quite a lot of goals with my cam. But his positioning was great, his shooting was great. You'll see a lot of clips here where he just wins the ball in the air just to start off an attack. So that just goes to show that he is the aerial threat that he did have in like previous FIFAs was more meaningful, but it does have its place in FIFA 20. You're not going to maybe score goals with that aerial threat, but you can win situations like that to get you going forward. Now here you can see he gets through, nice little ball roll, goes for a shot, he misses the shot. I was like, oh no, I've missed, but then I did manage to win myself a penalty, and I think he has very high 90s in the penalties, so his penalties are going to be fairly accurate. So when you load up that power button, the little circle isn't going to go really big. But yeah, even though I'd say, well, let's talk about some of his weaknesses, and that would be his pace. His mid and his prime are a lot quicker. They're basically just a lot better versions of himself. I know that's obvious to say, but for example, some icons drastically change. Some lose pace, some lose agility, whereas a Raul, for example, just gets better with every version of him. But he links up perfectly with Costa, a nice little combination. Sometimes you get good players that you try to fit into a team, but the other one outshines the other. Costa and Raul works perfectly to the point where they both seem as threatening as each other. A couple of nice drag backs here there, getting onto his weak foot, sorry, not his weak foot, onto his left foot. And that's something that I noticed with Raul. He was very dominant with his left foot, despite having a 4-star weak foot. Pretty much everything he did was with that left foot. So I found the best combinations for Raul seem to be like ball rolls, drag backs, just the usual things. Sometimes if you pass into him and you're standing still, you can do the drag as well to get a little bit of pace. But as we saw at the start, his passing is kind of weird in the sense that he's got something like 67 long passing, but then again like 86 short passing, which is perfect if you're going to play him striker, because as a striker you're not going to really be in many situations where you need to use a long ball, you know. So it's better that you do have high vision and high passing, because the way that I play, I usually drag back and then try to look for a pass, and the best ways to do that is, or the best stats for that is vision and short passing. In terms of his actual dribbling though, he has 88 balance, 85 agility and 84 dribbling. So not the highest of stats, but I think balance is one of the most important out of those three, and being at 88 is very good. And you notice that I think that it's hard to find players with very high balance and also pretty good strength. The next player we're going to be looking at is Okocha, and he actually does have a mid icon which is cheaper than this version. The main differences are basically pace. Now obviously people prefer pace in FIFA, and that's why he's selling for more as his baby. So yeah, in terms of his stats though, very fast card. At times though, I was a little bit disappointed with his dribbling. We'll get into that when we show you the gameplay. So as you can see, going for the low 200Ks on pretty much every platform. Usually there's a difference with PC, but in this situation that he's not. He's got some nice work rates, medium attacking work rates and low defensive. So that's what you want typically. Well, actually it depends where you play him. But a nice goal to start off with, basically just keeping it up, and goes for a volley. And you're probably thinking that guy's probably quit, but I remember at the time he was taking it seriously. Nice little fake shot through the legs as well. So there were, out of about 10 games that I played with this squad, there were times where I thought, yeah, that was nice. That was pretty classy from Okocha. But apart from that, he was pretty average. Finding space was pretty easy with Okocha. The problem was, once I found space, I did find it hard to come back into that space to find opportunities. You'll see here that he's dribbling. Once I do a skill move, like the dribbling just feels really far away from him, even for someone with the dribbling stats that he does have. So let's read out the dribbling stats. So he has 94 agility, 90 balance, and 93 dribbling. Like, I just expected a little bit better. To me, it felt like he had in the middle 80s, if that makes sense. And his finishing is his bad point. So out of the four players, I'd say that he's probably got the worst finishing, and his actual shooting stats are 75 finishing. He had a hunter on him, so his shooting stats should be increased slightly, but it was just terrible. There was an opportunity, which I think is the last clip, where he's through on goal and he just misses a sitter, and that was it right there. Didn't even get the rebounds in FIFA 20. That's kind of like the expected. When you shoot and you hit the post, the chance of it coming back and being a tap in is very high. But here, as you can see, we're getting through on goal, and I've been there many times before. I decided just to cut it across to someone who can score. The next player that we're going to be looking at is my second favourite out of the list, and that is Rui Costa, and one of the cheaper players actually out of the whole bunch of them. So his stats are fairly even. Again, a player with quite high strength, but for a player with high strength, he has pretty decent balance, and perhaps that is a key thing for me this year. Just players that have decent strength with also very high balance. But as you can see, coming in at about 150, 160 on Xbox and PlayStation, and just under 200k on the PC. Medium work rates, 4-star skills, 4-star weak foot. I'd say that depending on where you play him, I would probably use a Deadeye, because he has enough pace to play in the cam position. The main weakness for me was his finishing, although it was still better than Okocha. I think having a Deadeye on him boosts it by plus 15, so perhaps that was why. You can see there's something that was quite a difficult shot, that half volley, but there was a lot more chances that he put away compared to someone like Okocha. And for someone with very average looking stats, he performs really well. So he links up with Raul down the middle, and you can see lots of little 1-2 movements. I already took more than one touch when I was playing with these two, and it just worked nicely. There you can see I just didn't put enough power on it, but at the same time it just goes to show you that his shooting was his downfall a little bit. There were times, yeah, where he's just hit the post, very unlucky. But looking at his stats now, maybe it has something to do with his composure. He only has 77 composure. But I really don't know about this composure stat, guys, because I don't know if you've played against Hugo Sanchez. I think that's his name as the icon. He has really low composure stats, something like in the 50s. And when I play against him, he doesn't do anything that makes me think that he has low composure. So I really don't know how effective that stat is. Nice little goal there, though, with Costa. I chipped it, and I thought he was going to clear the ball, but obviously it just went over. I don't even remember getting like a VAR check on that, but nice little goal. Here, starting off with Costa, well, actually started off with Overmars, but working through the middle, back to Costa. I think he had 2 or 3 link-ups where he was the central man, and he never let me down. When it comes to passing, he never let me down. With a Deadeye, he already has good passing stats, but with a Deadeye, he was great. There were times, though, where his touch was a little bit heavy, like there, for example. If I had a better touch, I could have sweat it across or got the shot off. But that leads me on to the final player, and that is Marc Overmars. I was really excited to use this player, but I was very disappointed. So this guy comes in at the worst out of the 4. And you can see from his stats, I'm using a Deadeye. His finishing wasn't great, so I decided to put a Deadeye on him. But all in all, his stats look quite promising. It's just when it comes to in-game, he wasn't performing well. In terms of price, he was going for just under 200k on Xbox and PlayStation, and just over 200k on the PC. He'd recommend using either a Hunter on him or a Deadeye. I think maybe next time if I do use him, it would be a Hunter, because I just wasn't trying to finish with him. Even with a Deadeye, his finishing was pretty bad. But you can see here, nice little link-up play of Okocha. I decided for the last 2 or 3 games to put Okocha and Overmars either as both strikers or with Okocha as striker and Overmars as a cam. And my expectations of Overmars was I was going to try and use him as if he was like a Ben Yedder, because he does have that 5-star weak foot. But the problem is, when you do have a 5-star weak foot, if your general, like the base shooting stats aren't very good, it doesn't matter if you have 5-star weak foot. His shooting is going to be bad whether you're shooting on his strong foot or his bad foot. And I was just disappointed. There were times where I think Okocha found space better and worked into that space better. I think having 5-star skills was a little bit more threatening. His dribbling, Okocha's dribbling was also a lot better. Overmars was, as I said, just a little bit disappointed. Once I found space, I just found it really hard to work back in and get that pass across. And pretty much all the clips you see here are me just trying to find space, getting a little bit of space, but having to come back because he has low strength. His balance isn't really high to the point where, you know, like if it's like Messi, then you can kind of hold someone off. So I think he scored about 2 or 3 goals across about 10 games, which is really bad. Most of them were just tap-ins as well, so there was nothing special about his finishing. So yeah, I was very disappointed with Overmars. I don't see myself ever using this card again, but I do see myself using Costa or Raul. So overall, guys, I was really impressed with Costa and Raul being my favourite. Okocha was kind of like in the middle. I could see myself using him again if I really need to, but I don't think I need to just because I have that position covered for my team. But Overmars is a big no-no for me, so I don't see myself ever using him again. I don't recommend using him. I might try out his mid or his prime, but his baby was just not good. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you slap a like on the video. Really appreciated this video. Took a little bit more time because I had to play a lot more games, a little bit more editing. So I appreciate it if you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here as well. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.